Got the mic just here. The sound's okay?
Sounds awesome, mate.
Oh, good.
So you're you're now joining us on the Get Busy Living podcast. I'm Dr. Scott from Sixth Sense Acupuncture. I'm a registered acupuncturist and Chinese herbalist. And we have the wonderful guest, Georgina Orchard, this morning. Thank you so much for joining us this morning, Georgina.
Thank you so much for having me, Dr. Scott. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, it's a beautiful day here in Brisbane, Vegas. How's it down there in Sydney?
It is a beautiful day here. The sun is shining, so it's a gorgeous day, and my grass is green.
On the other side and here. Grass is greener on the other side and here. Okay, so I'll kick it off with our first question. So tell us, Georgina, what gets you out of bed every morning?
You know what? I just love just getting up in my house. It's nice and peaceful. And then I come out and I've got my dog, and I get to communicate with my two wonderful girls who've just left home, and just connecting with the world. Yeah, that's what gets me out of the bed in the morning.
Very cool. So, are your girls now? They're working and they're
one's a civil engineer up in. She's doing the Hexham Road up in Newcastle. And so she's working with a team of lots of engineers up there, and there's a whole lot of different projects that go on. And so she's working on one of the projects there leading up to the bridge that's going in. And my other daughter has almost a year-old baby. So Amelia turns 1 in about a week, I think. Yeah, nearly a week. And so that's very exciting, and they've just moved out over to Padstow. So, big change for them, and a big change for me. I'm kind of like on an empty house, so it's I've just spent a few days sort of trying to flesh the house out again. It's got a bit empty. Yeah, so it's nice. It's peaceful.
Not for long. They always come back. So I was going to say.
I haven't looked back yesterday, so they all come and go.
That's right. So on your LinkedIn profile, you say that you're a business and well-being coach, helping women with effective strategies in business and workplace. So tell us, how did you get into business and well-being coaching, Georgina?
All right, so I guess my training at uni is in business. So I have a Bachelor of Financial Administration, which is accounting and economics and numbers. And I also did a major electives in small business management as well. So then I kind of went into accounting and all that sort of stuff. And as much as I'm very good at it, I kind of there was always health. There's always been, Mum was a physio, and so I was always interested in health. And every time I go to the doctor, I'm very, ask lots of questions. And then 6 years ago, I got a cancer diagnosis. So I was diagnosed with breast cancer. And so I came home and started cleaning up the house, thinking, what is it around that? And then the day before my first operation, they do all the lymph node mapping, and I was standing in the line to just pay for the CT scans and that sort of thing, and they tapped me on the shoulder and they said, I think we found something on your lung. Can you come back, because we need to have another scan? Oh my God, I nearly collapsed. And so I went back in, and they thought, there's something there that needs further investigation. And I had a really great breast surgeon, oncologist, breast surgeon. And I said, just can we throw whatever at this? And I'd already got a referral to see her from one of the kids' obstetrician, because he's my gynae. And I'd said to him, you know the best people. So he had already, when he spoke to her before I rung up to make an appointment, they'd already made the appointment. They'd already made the appointment for the surgery and all this other stuff. So basically she just went into overdrive and got me a really great surgeon, has got good results. So I then had to do a lot of testing and things like that, apart from what was going on with the breast cancer, because I ended up having to have 3 operations for the breast cancer to get rid of it all, and radiotherapy as well. So I guess after that, it sort of put me into overdrive because I was already on the kind of natural health journey. I'm not big on chemicals at all. Although I've realized that everything that you put on your mouth and your skin really is a chemical anyway. But I guess it's the harsher chemicals that you can use. Always sort of believed in natural health, but I realized that you have to do it. The way that we're structured here is that you have to do it in conjunction with the mainstream health as well. But the more that you can go on the natural health, and the more that you can help yourself, is a really important thing. There's a lot of people that are out there that are left sort of wondering when they get that diagnosis, what am I going to do? What have I done to cause this? And that's just a natural question that you ask. I guess I was in the middle of a coaching certification, so I knew that if I sat in that bewilderment and in that sort of why me sort of state, nothing was going to change. So that is kind of one of the things that really sort of drives my passion for helping people.
Yeah. Okay. And what? So, what sort of natural implications did you? Sorry, what sort of natural ideas or products did you implement into your life to help with especially with cancer? That's the tough thing.
I was doing I had a healer at the time, and she was a kinesiologist, Reiki practitioner, as well as natural healing. And through the kinesiology, that's the kind of muscle testing, is that my body I had told myself years ago that I would get sick if certain events happened. And so I had to work out what that was. I also had to undo that belief as well. So that was part of it. But also the other thing was, it was what I had to stop using. So my lung cancer wasn't from smoking, and I was a smoker until I was about 25, 26. It was a small cell carcinoma called exon 19. And that means that there's like a gene mutation, and sort of things like mobile phones and 5G and all that sort of stuff can cause that. But there's other environmental factors, I guess, as well. So, one of the things I did was I came home and I filled the skip bin with all the different chemicals. So it's finding out, what are you using on your hair and your skin and around you in the environment, and sort of, doing the research, and then doing a lot of research into natural products. And, external is just one way, but there's also a lot of internal stuff that you can do in terms of, are you thing, or are you doing, I did a lot of meditation, and there's this lovely meditation that I do that brings a white light through me and down to the ground. And then, that's taking anything out that shouldn't be in my system. And I had a coach as well at the time, so we sort of worked it out together, because I knew, because certain things, what he was suggesting that it was to dissolve it within your system, and I'm thinking, no, that means it stays in the body. So I just developed my own system of getting it out of the body and then filling it with the goodness of Mother Nature. And it's just like a mind visual process that, you can record yourself doing it, because some people find meditation very hard, just to sit in that silence. And it's like a self-guided meditation that you can do for yourself, or I can guide people through it, as well as as doing a lot of work on a lot of people who get cancer tend to be making a victim personality, and there's different varying degrees of victim. There's that person that refuses to take responsibility for their actions at all. And then there's the person that's kind of like, it's part of the why me kind of business, and sort of undoing it. And I've done a lot of work with archetypes and things like that. So there's, plus it's kind of really putting a health regime into place. So for example, juicing in the morning, celery juice is a really great one to start with. What sort of supplements are you taking? So one of the things that I did was that the healer referred, she'd had brain cancer and she'd worked with this naturopath that's now in Queensland. And she put me on a sort of diet, so it was looking at my diet and from a kind of cancer point of view is cleaning up and detoxing your body, but just adding those things that are going to add to your health. So if you think about it, it's giving your body the right resources in order to heal, because your body is designed to heal. Our body's, given the right, sometimes the body can get its wires crossed. The whole premise around the body is to keep you safe. So that's the body and mind. So, but sometimes in order to stop you from what you're doing, you end up getting sick, sometimes from your beliefs, but also it's the body trying to keep you safe. So it's, and I do a lot of NLP, so there's a lot of NLP sort of semi-hypnosis sort of scripts that you can take yourself through or get someone else to take you through that that's qualified in it. And I'm a qualified master practitioner in that. And it's sort of designed to get the body aware that it is on the wrong path, and that when it realizes it's on the wrong path, it'll change. And so it's all about giving the body the right resources in order to heal. And if you're eating, Macca's burgers every day with heaps of sugar and salt and, drinking alcohol's a big cause for. The top 3 things for breast cancer that they say add to it, and I was out of that because I didn't drink a lot of alcohol. I'm quite fit. They reckon the muffin top has something to do with the fat around the belly, has something to do with it as well, a little bit of one of those. And so it's sort of exercise, drinking, and what did I say the other one was? And the muffin top. So it's, it's diet, it's alcohol, it's, it's what you're putting in your mouth, how much exercise, and also it's what you're telling yourself.
Yeah, totally agree. Don't get me started on that. Especially
Yep.
diet. Diet is a big one. What we drink and what we eat is very important. Because we're basically we're inviting cancer. We eat something out of a packet, we're inviting it. We're saying, come in, it's okay, you can grow as much as you want, let's just harvest what we can of any cancerous cells, because we're not designed to eat highly processed foods. We're designed to eat natural foods.
Well, a lot of processed
foods.
There's too much sugar in processed foods. And so, but cancer loves sugar. So when you do, I had to have a CAT scan. So they gave me sugar, but you can't do it in the brain because you have to have an MRI in the brain, because when you give your body the sugar, it goes straight to the brain for some reason. So there's lots of, it brings up all this activity in this. And so what will happen is it'll highlight when the sugar sort of goes there, the cancer cells all highlight and they get really active, so then they can see them. So that's why they give you lots of sugar. So sugar is a big element that you need to remove from your life. And it's okay to have the occasional sugar hit. That's fine, but just on the overall, sugar's a huge element of here, that you need to remove to give your body the right resource to heal.
This is how bad sugar is. It's So when I say sugar, I mean simple carbohydrates. People
Yeah.
go, oh, I don't eat many simple carbohydrates. Well, I'm sorry to say, they're just about in everything. So
Well, white rice, white
with
pasta, white.
yeah, you can't.
A lot of
Yeah,
people
yeah,
get upset when I say you need to take white bread out of your diet, and they go, "Why?
yeah,
It's so good to eat. It fills me up." And I'm like,
yeah.
"No,
There,
it
there's
actually
a
is. You're killing
there's,
yourself. You're killing your body."
there's a reason why it tastes nice.
Yeah, it's got lots of sugar in it.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And yeah, and it actually soaks up any fluid when it's in your stomach. What happens is the acids actually it soaks it up and it just turns into this mush. So it takes longer to break down. That's why they feel fuller.
Mm,
But it's just yeah, it just turns straight into glucose and it's so quick. It's so much faster than your complex carbs, which is your green leafy veg, your other veggies as well, certain veggies.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, if you're eating out of a packet every day, it, you're inviting cancer. You're saying, "Come in, let's go, let's grow some cancer." Sorry to say, but the problem is the doctors aren't saying this. They're not saying this to you.
No, as part of my healing, journey with my oncologist, I was invited to this support group, and that's what I would like to do for patients as well, for cancer patients, and probably autoimmune as well. Um, but what they did is that all the oncologists had told us, what is the best thing to eat, and they've got a good education program. And then we had a dietitian from the hospital come in, and it's the old diet, and it had your seeds
The
and
pyramid,
grains. It was just that, like,
the pyramid, the
they
pyramid.
reversed
pyramid
it. When you go to a naturopath, they actually reverse that on its
upside
head.
down.
They're eating less
Yeah, yeah.
of those grains and um,
Grains. Yeah,
wheat. So taking a lot of the things that you can take out of your diet are gluten and milk. Really, really don't need to eat milk. We're not young calves. They're
yeah.
full of hormones, and
Well,
so
they heat it up. They heat it up. They pasteurize it.
yeah,
That's what it alters the milk. It actually destroys the fat in the milk. That's why we can't absorb it.
right.
We're not designed to drink pasteurized milk.
No,
Full fat milk, yeah, okay. If they left it raw, well then yeah, we can absorb it better because they're taking the fat out. Well, they
yeah,
haven't taken it out. What they do is they alter it by heating it up, and
the other
then
thing is,
then the homogenized stuff. They just add water, fill it out, and they add preservatives. That's why it lasts 3 to 4 weeks. That's why I remember when I was a kid, it lasted like 3 to 5 days at the most.
yeah.
Milk, the fresh milk that came in, it would last about 3 days normally.
The best thing was
Uh,
the home deliveries when you're in the city. I
yeah,
lived in the
yeah,
country, so we didn't have a cow. The next door neighbour had a cow, but we'd get milk from the
yeah,
town. We'd get it trucked out every twice a week or something. But we had
yeah,
powdered milk back then, so
yeah,
we
yeah, as well, as
we
well.
had
That was a backup. That was a backup.
that was our staple most of the time. We had to make milk in the morning, put the whiskey
Dehydrated.
down, get the egg beaters out.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so that's what I'm saying is now milk lasts 3 weeks. That's not right. It shouldn't
no,
last that long. It's because they're
no.
putting preservatives in it. And that yeah, another invitation, another invitation for cancer.
Yeah, they've mucked around with it. It's just it's genetically modified products as well. So if you look at um, a lot of like corn is mostly genetically modified, and it mimics the tocopherol. So if you've got an estrogen based, if you're also taking estrogen or something in hormone replacement therapy or on the pill or all sort of stuff, and you're flooding your system with estrogen based foods, which a lot of lentils are estrogen based because they mimic estrogen, and that can also affect you. So one of the things that I was on with before I got cancer was hormone replacement therapy, and they said it would be okay because I was also on a marina, and the marina and then, just going straight into that. So my cancer was progesterone and estrogen based, which is all hormones. So you don't really want those hormones left in your system. So you have to take them all out and use things like, there's different drugs that you have after you get diagnosed with an estrogen based cancer. You can either have tamoxifen, or there's another one. And I found that tamoxifen was okay, but then you had to take something else to counter the side effects of that. There's also another one, but it makes your joints sore. So it causes a lot of inflammation around your joints. And I tried that for a little while, but I ended up back on the tamoxifen. So now I'm 5 years free. I can go off all those sort of things, which is good. But, there's certain things that will reduce once you've had cancer, reduce your incidence, and you get monitored for 5 years. And then after that, you're back with your GP. And then they kind of keep the monitoring going on.
Yeah, gotcha. But yeah, that's what I'm trying to say is, if we just watch what we ate, if we like you said, if we turn the pyramid upside down,
Yeah.
there'd be so much less incidence of cancer, just by changing our diet, and that we'd be preventing it. But like you said, what did they say at the oncology unit? Did they talk about that? Did they talk about the pyramid?
No, well, yeah, sort of, but more kind of your results. I talked about it because it was sort of passionate to me. I'd have really good discussions, because when you go into the oncologist, unless you ask the questions, they're not going to give you the answers. So you have to do a little bit of your own research. So I put together a book for, it's like an ebook for people with cancer or with other health issues, and the questions that you can start asking. Because when you start asking the questionings and get curious, that's when you start getting the answers. So it's talking to them about, I had an oncologist that was very happy to do the mainstream stuff alongside with health. She said they had a few and this is in North Shore and Sydney.
Yeah.
And the comforting thing is that, it's not just that one doctor that's looking after you. When they look at your case, say for breast cancer, they'll get a whole lot of specialists together regarding breast cancer. And so there'll be a team that meets once a week and they'll discuss your case. And so that as a collective, they'll come up with a management plan. So it's not just one particular doctor that's looking after you. And so you've got a team of experts, right? So you've got to take comfort in that. And then because I had lung cancer as well, is that I had another oncologist who was a breast and lung specialist. So she was looking after me as well. So it's looking after both sides. So you're getting 2 lots of checks. Plus she had in her team of people that she was referring to as well. So it's kind of like you have 2 lots of surgeons and then these specialists and then a whole team behind them, which is awesome. But then there's also, what is the support that you need outside? Is that, is your community pulling together? Are your friends pulling together to help you? And how can you support yourself?
Yeah, gotcha.
So they're quite happy with natural health. They just didn't like, the only thing that they didn't like was that a lot of people were going off and having vitamin C injections. And I believe it can really affect your renal system. So you've got to be very careful about flooding your system with that much vitamin C. So they'd seen a lot of kidney failure with it.
All right.
So it's kind of, yes, give yourself some vitamin C. There's different types of vitamin C. For example, there's liposomal, which is easily ingested. There's other types, but the normal, your body can cope with about 1,000 milligrams. Once you double that, if you're sick, then your body will use it and it tends to let out the rest. But if you give itself too much, the body then, the body's got to go into overdrive in order to look. So you need to look after the levels. There's a certain amount of balance that you need in your body.
Maybe drink more water.
Water's so good. I mean, your body really needs that in order to do a lot of the processing.
Yeah.
So someone my size, I'm only about 5'2", and in the old measurements, I suppose in the new measurements, I'm about 158 or something like that. And I'm tiny, but I still have 2.5 liters of water a day. So this sits on my desk and I've found this really big sort of wine glass thing, and it's the bomb because it means that I don't have to keep filling it. I can really easily gauge how much water I've had each day with that.
Yeah. So that chlorine is a big problem too, because chlorine can cause high levels of chlorine can cause cancer as well. So
Yeah.
that's the only problem with our water system. So we've got some sort of filtration system to reduce that chlorine in your. I understand why they put it in is to kill the bugs, but
Yeah.
same again. It's cancer loves chlorine.
What about fluoride?
So
What about fluoride? I have a filtration system and it filters everything out, including heavy metals.
so
So
it causes mental health issues. Yes, it's good for the enamel, but they don't talk about how it causes mental health issues. So there's plenty of research on that now as well. It's been out for a long time. It's been since the 70s. So they knew about it before they introduced it into our water. But also there's different types of chlorine as well, hydrochloride. And that, the one that they talk about for enamel is different to what they put in the water. So
is it?
fluoride, yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. There
Yeah,
you
the more
go.
you research, the
Always
more you
learning.
research, the more you research, the more you go, oh god,
Yeah. So,
the
yeah.
system, the system isn't for us.
Well, I think that, the more you get educated on stuff, the more you can make better changes. And when you know better, you can
Yeah,
do better.
yeah,
So
correct.
that having done NLP, they say, we're not our behaviors. There's something, we're not our behaviors or values or beliefs, really. We're more pure than that. And, when we know better, we can do better. And the body is designed to heal. So there's those three things just make you start to appreciate life a lot better.
Yeah, definitely. Habits are, yeah. Need to look after our habits. Basically, it was it Dr. Carolyn Leaf. 99% of your behaviors come from your unconscious mind.
That's right. That is right. That's right. So where you riding a bike becomes, because you practice it so much that it just becomes like when we say, driving a car is like riding a bike, is once you know how to do it, it's ingrained in you. And it's the same with anything else that you practice. If you want to live a better life and live longer, then it's just getting those habits and taking the things that aren't healthy for you out of it so that you are focused on the things that are healthy for you. So, and it's also your belief is, so if you kind of think about it, I guess when my mum was about same age, 52, she fell off the horse and she fell off the truck and she broke a wrist and then she broke an arm, different times. But what I looked at that and I sort of looked at some older relatives, and I thought, oh gosh. So when they had a fall, they got sick, really sick. And I put two together, stored that in the back of my brain, in my subconscious.
Yeah,
And, then when I, at 50, I think it was 50, I had I fell off. Oh, no, I got kicked by the horse and I broke my pelvis. It was the first break I'd ever had. And I think my subconscious turned around and went, okay, well, there's that belief that you had before. I'm now going to kick in. So that was what the healer said. You told yourself that this would happen. I didn't know the severity of what would happen, but I got sick, right? So
yeah,
I had to realize what that belief was. And it was one day I was standing in the middle of Woolies and I'd asked my brain, I'm thinking, what is it that that I've asked myself, told myself. And I had to then go and undo that belief. So I had to say, that is not true. And there's evidence out there that that is not true. So, it's really kind of working with that. And the same thing with, with people who've got family that with dementia, and they say, well, okay, they've got dementia, so does that mean that they will get dementia? So they have that belief that they'll get dementia. Well, if you focus on that, then, and you tell your body you are because of that, then that's probably what's going to happen.
Yeah.
So you need to so we really actually, if you're out there and that is one of your thoughts or your beliefs, is to undo that belief. So beliefs are really important.
Oh,
in
big
terms of-
time. Big time. That they realize now that they did some studies on some children that had terminal was it leukemia? Yeah, it was leukemia. Leukemia, yeah, and they found that their happy hormones increased tenfold, and and increase their immunity.
Yeah.
So they increased their white blood cell counts actually increased when they were happier and uh, more stimulated.
Yeah.
Stimulated in a positive way,
That's right.
not in a negative way. So
it takes them out of victim and puts them into a positive frame of mind.
yeah, University of Queensland did it here in one of the
Hmm.
hospitals. I read the article. It was pretty cool.
I've
And
never heard that because I think that's really important.
so so they found that immunity increased. So definitely, if what you think, what you believe, and what you think is going to manifest physically as well.
Yeah, you're manifesting it if you believe in it, because you're putting it
Definitely.
out in your thoughts all the time. And
Yeah,
so, you get what you ask for. If you think about that, it's a bit like
yeah,
in a Christian sort of sense. If you ask God for
yes,
something, He'll give it to you,
yes,
right?
yes,
So it's the same with the universal. If you're a spiritual person, if you're asking
yep,
your spirit guides or your spirit, it's the same with God's spirit. And so that if you ask for something, you're manifesting that.
yep.
So
So
really
it's
be careful what you ask for. That's a very old saying. Be careful what you ask for.
that's and that's what I'm saying is this is what I'm saying about the medical system. The medical system is no different. It's like a religion.
Yeah,
If you believe in it, well, but the thing is, when it fails you, that's the problem. So yeah, definitely, and it's the same with if you are thinking bad thoughts all day. If you're thinking bad things all day, then they're going to manifest. Bad things are going to manifest. But if you're thinking good things, if you're like I have affirmations, so I do my affirmations every morning. So
that's
that
good.
drives me every day. That drives me every day because I have to. I know I have to. If I don't, I fall in a heap and I just don't want to do anything. And then I don't get anything done.
Yeah, motivation to do things is really important.
Yeah.
And
Drive is very important.
mm,
Your thoughts are your actions, and your actions will make your dreams.
that's right. And if you dream have something really good to look forward to. It's creating that for yourself. Make
Mm.
sure that you got something, do something that uplifts you every day. A good walk in nature is really grounding, which is really important. And there's some grounding foods as well. Like you can use oils or, go and walk on grass or sand
Yep.
to get grounded. But you can also, like potato. I know white potato is probably not the best thing for you, but you can mix it with sweet potato, have less of it, uh, less fried food, that sort of stuff. But potato is really good for grounding. When I got sick, I'd been subscribed to there's William Henry, and he talks in healing foods, and he's a medical medium, and there was a whole lot of foods in there that he says, if you've got this in your life, put more of this food in your life. And so I followed that very closely. It's around, the berries and cruciferous vegetables and reducing milk and gluten in your diet with different things.
Yeah.
And, putting more good things like celery and lettuce, different types of lettuces and different types of fruit. A lot of people talk about reducing the fruit in your diet, but having a varied diet is really important. And having, all those different fruits do something different for your body. The different vegetables do something different for your body. Having fruits and vegetables that are in season is also really important.
Yes, and that, yeah, that comes, yeah. I understand why. I listened to a nutritionist speak on last Thursday, and she made a good point that the problem is we bastardized fruit
Yeah.
too much, and what we ate 50, 60 years ago when it come to fruit was totally different to what we're eating now. They're, like you said before, they're modified. They're genetically modified. So the problem is they've turned it. It was uh, it was a carbohydrate. It's always been a carbohydrate. Fructose, it's a carbohydrate, but they've made it into a simple carbohydrate now. So it's just like eating a bowl of sugar. So that's why that. And I don't know about you, Georgina, but when I was a kid, I've said this before. When I was a kid, when we used to eat the mulberry straight off the tree,
Yeah, we did too.
and same with blackberries. Every now and then, someone would have a blackberry tree, so we'd eat the blackberries. But they had wonderful taste. The taste was just amazing. You
Yeah,
buy them now. You buy them now from even from the farmers markets. They have no taste. It's
you
just
got to put
like,
you got to grow your own tree, Scott. You got to have someone like a communal garden where they grow their own tree. Because
yeah,
what if they're growing it commercially, so they're flooding it with water, and it's probably it's not necessarily seasonal. It might be hydroponic. If you flood
yeah,
something with water, then you're going to get more watery fruit, aren't you? So, and
yes,
also all the chemicals and stuff that are, I know organic. They reckon organic. If you eat organic, you live longer. But
yeah.
at the same time, once they get grown commercially, it's kind of, I think that's why I think farmers markets are really good, and also a community garden where you've got fruit and veggies in there.
Yeah, you got to be careful of who you get your fruit and veg from, because
Mm,
just they've taken all the nutritional value out of it. Um, and yeah,
yeah,
just because it says organic too, just be careful of that, because I've heard that,
yeah,
I've seen that before. The famous organic shop I knew about years ago. This is when I first started investigating about food and nutrition, and I remember there's a gentleman delivering to that store, and it was famous for being organic. And I said to him, "Oh, that where do they get their fruit and veg from? Do they get it straight from a farmer or something?" He said, "Oh, no, no, it all comes from Rockley. They just pay more." I was like, "What?"
I know someone who works at the markets, at Sydney markets, and that supplies a lot of stuff around New South Wales and probably Queensland as
Yeah,
well. And I said to him, this thing about organic, and he said, yeah, you only have to say it's organic and you can charge more, not necessarily organic. And I said, was
no,
there anything organic in the market? And he said, no, not at all. So a
no,
lot
it's
of,
all,
if the market is supplying those suppliers,
yeah,
then you got to be wary because there's nothing to certify it as organic. I know with meat, even meat, I met someone who was growing their own beef, and he said he had to put his cattle on adjustment because he was running out of food and all that sort of stuff. And I said, so the place that you're on, is it, the adjusting it on, is it organic? No. And so he said there's certain percentages that are acceptable, and then margins, that you can have a certain amount of chemicals. I was like, that just blew me out of the water. I said, Oh, right. Okay. So I didn't then, when he was talking about his organic beef, I just sort of switched off and went, nah, that ain't organic. That's not really organic. Go and have your own cow. But even then, you've got to
yeah, that's
have,
right.
there's chemicals that you've got to use to, if they get pink eye or they've got issues with, because they've got to drench them, all that sort of stuff. With cattle and stuff if they've got an area that's got a lot wetter than other areas, then they've got to drench them with this thing or put something in the water that stops them bloating. I remember, because growing up on a sheep and cattle station, there was things that put on the cattle's eye, like for pink eye and that sort of stuff, chemicals to stop, I think it was a bacterial infection. We never did hormones or anything like that, but I guess organically beef means no hormones, maybe.
Yeah. It's a staph infection. That's what happened. You get staph in their eye.
Yeah. And then you're drenching.
Same thing for me. I spent time on a dairy farm, so get to find out firsthand where it all comes from.
Yeah, it just doesn't come from the supermarket. It comes from a farm.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, when you start to research where our food and where our water comes from, and what happens to it by the time it gets to our table or to our taps, then
I guess the thing is, I've been thinking about this quite a lot in terms of, can your body just accept it as a good resource, no matter where it comes from? It's funny, I was reflecting of when I was, when my parents came down to Sydney to live, my grandfather's flat was here in Sydney, and I went in there and I cleaned out a lot of the herbs because they had weevils and stuff in it. My dad went off, and he was a Depression era baby. And so any food was good in a Depression era because, food was scarce, everything was scarce. And I remember when they were cleaning out the shed at home, I found this little bag of Bushell's tea, and it was like 20 years old. And I was laughing. I imagine my dad went off at me. He said, "That's good tea. Put that inside." I was kind of like, "Oh, Dad, this is long gone. No. There's no nutritional value. No, that's still okay. I'll drink it." And you kind of think, well, if you're grateful for what you're having, and the belief system is that no matter what you put in, depending on what it is, right? Because there's a degree of that. It's like when people have chemotherapy, if they practice more gratitude towards the chemo, because chemo's got such a bad name of, this green chemical. If you approach it differently, and the same with radiotherapy, your body will cope with it a lot more, and it'll turn it from an enemy into a friend.
Yep. Yeah, I understand. It's a perception. It's all about perception. So, what was I going to say? We've done well. We're actually up to 43 minutes. We had a false start, of course, like we do every week. So thank you very much, Georgina. So I'll go on to the next question. So tell us about who your ideal client is, or who your avatar is.
Okay, so on my LinkedIn, and it's all about sort of women in the workplace. It's women in business, women in the workplace. It's women who kind of are stuck sitting at their desk. They're probably not eating the best diet. They've got biscuits in the kitchen. They're eating whatever that they can get their hands on for lunch. Because they're in a hurry. It's those sort of people that are my ideal avatar. It's helping you within mostly business. You're stuck in there, the time management issues, and also the culture that you have in your workplace. It's just where do you want to go in life? Where do you want to go in your business? And ideally, it's kind of your business is a means to get you to live passionately within your life and have a great life. You don't just want that end result. You want it to live passionately and live fully now. And it's just putting in those steps for the women in business and women in the workplace so that they can live passionately now.
Awesome. Yeah. I agree. Women need as much support, and if not more, than men do. So I totally agree. And the more healthy women there are in society, the a better off society will be. I believe. I'm sure of it. I'm not. I don't believe it. I reckon that's a given. So I'll go on to the
It's,
last question. So
yeah.
what ideas or what rules would you go by to attain lifelong longevity?
I guess it's changing and having creating healthy habits and also belief system. So it's a combination of things. Is that is what support are you getting and how are you supporting yourself? What's the environment that you're in, and and it's not just physical environment. It's who have you got around you and what is the environment that you create for yourself. And then, what are the resources that you have for life? What are the belief systems? And then, if there is something wrong, what are you using to heal? Because your body is designed to heal, so you're giving it the right resources. So are you doing things like acupuncture, or are you doing some natural healing, or what sort of supplements are you taking, and for what purpose are you taking that? And making sure that that you're focused on living a healthy life and focused on longevity. So if you're focused on that, then and asking for the resources to fall into place around you to give you that, then you're more likely to have that. I guess I look at one of the things that I focus on is that there's a lot of people who've lived to quite a grand old age in my life. I think my great-great-grandmother was 98. And then I think between my mum's grandmother and her, they sort of died around the 70 mark. And I thought, well, that's that sickness that they had, but it was created by a number of factors, either anxiety, or there might have been worry from death in the family, or there was, rheumatoid arthritis or something else going on that impacted their ability to live a longer life. What resources did they have when they got sick? Did they use those resources? So that's one of the things. I was just going to mention it's International Women's Day tomorrow, and with that in light, it's kind of focus on, helping people focus on what can they do to live passionately so that they can enjoy life to the fullest. And if you have grandchildren, be able to play with them and to walk and to be able to get down on the ground and muck around with them, but also get out and see friends and get out and see your family and do the things that are really valuable in your life, that your top values.
Great advice. So thank you very much for being on the podcast today. You've been watching the Get Busy Living podcast. Now, if you could, Georgina, put your details in the chat on the three of my platforms. I'm on Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. We'll give you the links anyway. And if you could leave your details so people could contact you, also that ebook as well, any information about that as well, so people can get a hold of it, and also obviously about your LinkedIn profile and any other advertising you wanted to do. So thank you very much. Thank you. Sorry, you go.
Thank you, Scott. I really appreciate being able to come on your show. Really appreciate and love to connect with all the viewers. And if you've got any questions, please give me a call. It's info@designtherestofyourlifecoaching.com. It's very long, but I'll put those in the comments. Thank you.
Thanks, Georgina. Thanks so much for your time, and it's been a great talk this morning. Appreciate it.